There's a bunch of studies. I was talking to you about that Stanford walking study from 2014, but there are a bunch of studies that
Mhm,
show that people, when they walk more,
mhm,
are more creative in their work, in their art, in their thinking, that they
mhm,
actually have more ideas. They feel more invigorated and excited. They reach solutions easier.
mhm.
That there's something about this sort of rhythmic motion of walking, they think, that
Yep.
actually facilitates what they call some cognitive flexibility. I mean,
Mhm.
which, when they say it like that, all I can think is, yeah, because you're moving and that moves your brain. It's moving. So it, like you were saying, all those lights and connections
Yeah,
go on for me. And
right.
there's just this way that creativity, I mean, I don't know about you, but I literally
Yeah.
on a walk have to stop and voice message myself an
Yep.
idea because I
I
know
do
I
too.
will forget it later.
Mhm.
And I'm so excited that I can't even contain myself,
Right.
that it seems to come out of the blue.
Mhm.
But I think that it's just that walking spurs that creative sort of out of the box thinking, looking from a different perspective, right?
Mhm. Mhm. But there's probably something physiologically going on, right? Like,
Probably.
right? Increased flow of blood to the brain, oxygen to the brain, nutrients to the brain, right? Which is obviously going to help your mental performance with greater focus, better recall of memory and maybe of being able to make connections between things that help you think creatively or brainstorm or, having a better reaction time of between things. I don't know. That feels
I
like
mean, it
something,
has to, because I
right?
mean, right, we know about that hippocampal stimulation, and
Right.
also they found, just to support your prana, they
Mhm.
found that walking outdoors was better than walking indoors in terms of creativity and problem solving. And so,
Mhm.
there's a lot happening there. And people, they did acknowledge that people feel less stressed because of that forest bathing effect. They
Mhm.
feel less stressed. And so they're able to think better. We know that when we're less stressed, we dampen the amygdala and the threat center, and we initiate or ignite or improve the functioning of our prefrontal cortex, where we have executive function, critical thinking, and motivation.
Mhm.
So we're more creative and more insightful when we're
Mhm.
out of our midbrain, which is all about just surviving. We can't think
Mhm.
of how to thrive and solve. We're just in survival mode in our midbrain. And
Right.
so that walk helps dampen that. So
Right.
it really speaks to this idea we were talking about in the beginning about, how do you put into your day some movement? So if you're going to be writing a book like you just did,
Yeah.
or, doing something like that where you're critically thinking, problem solving, I can't think of work that isn't like that.
Mhm.
Then, work in every hour a 10-minute walk or a 5-minute walk every
Right.
hour and a half. Just get up and walk around
Yep.
your office or your home or outside
Mhm.
and spur that. It feels like people think they can't take a break, quote unquote, but I would look at it as part of your work.
Right.
Part of your
Right.
human work
Right.
is to give your brain and body that movement.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's also the reason that so many people now who are quote high performers, and I know we don't want to talk about that, but if this encourages people who are listening to go and take a walk, then it's great. Then we're doing our job, right? Is this whole idea of doing walking meetings, right? A walk and talk.
Yes.
We do that all the time, right? A walk and talk, or even, a lot of meetings, people will meet standing up now. They don't let everybody sit down because people are just more effective. You're standing, so you're going to, get through things faster. But I do think it's like you're kind of, if you're standing, you're engaging your muscles. Like there's something going on. You're having to have some blood flow. So I do think there's something there that like people find that it makes them more productive, more creative. They can brainstorm and work together as a team better. So I would encourage people to even do these meetings, walking, like especially if you're talking on the phone or, if you can not do a video call, which, all of us are trying to get off of Zoom and video and all this stuff, is do, a walking meeting and you can get as much done. You may not be able to take notes, but at least you are moving your body. And I find that I'm more creative. Like a lot of times when we're talking, we come up with all these great ideas, and
Yeah.
literally I have to stop and take notes. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's really helpful.
And I've made a rule that, there's a lot of these sort of connecting meetings or people saying, "Can I pick your brain about this or that?" And if I have time to do it, my rule is I will only do it on the phone while I'm walking, because
Yeah.
I cannot sit on the video more,
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think if you make your own kind of rules for whatever your work or
Right.
days look like, where I only do my team meeting walking, or whatever it is, it promotes well being for everyone if you suggest that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially if you're leading a team, because whatever you do, you're actually allowing other people to do too, from a product, from a team standpoint or a management standpoint. Not that that's what we were going to get into, but I think the point
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that, movement, physical movement does more than just move your body. It's nourishing your brain. It's helping you be more creative. It's helping your mood. It's helping you move emotions, right? All the things that are really good for your health overall. So why wouldn't you do it? Right. That's
Yeah.
and how are you gonna build it into your day?
Yeah. And I mean, how literally schedule it in, meaning
Mhm.
not schedule on a calendar, but make a plan.
Yeah.
Think about it like I today, because your mind will think of all the reasons not to do it.
Exactly. Exactly. And so let's end this episode, this discussion with just some like really easy strategies or suggestions for the listeners of how they could maybe work this into their day so that it's a non-negotiable and it's something that they just do automatically. The first thing I would say is, sort of make it a habit to get outside for that morning walk. You're going to kill two birds with one stone in essence, because you're doing your morning sun viewing and
Yes.
you're getting out for a walk. If you could do that first thing in the morning, so you're getting that prana moving, and then you're also resetting your circadian rhythm. So that would be my first suggestion.
I
What would
love
you
that
say
one.
next? What would you say
Next, I
next?
would say if you brew tea or coffee is, I would say while you're steeping or brewing that, you make a rule that you'll do, cat cow or a couple of sun salutations
Mhm.
or air squats for that matter, right next to the
Yeah,
pot,
yeah,
And it's not about exercise. I'm just saying, like, get your blood flowing and get your moving so that your emotions don't start in a stuck place.
yeah. I love that. I love that. And then the next one I would say is that, make sure that you schedule in your work day, or, if you're home and you're going to have a phone call with a friend, just make sure that you're doing a walk and talk.
Yes.
Schedule that somewhere in the middle of your day, at least 15 minutes, that a meeting or, a catch up with a friend or a call to your mom or parent, whatever it is, that you're going to make it a 15-minute walk and talk. I think that that's a really easy way, and make it outside if you can. Just go
Yeah.
outside for a walk and do the talk at the same time. That would be
Yeah.
another thing I'd say.
So even just one of those a day, right, would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Amazing. Just one a day.
And then I would say, I think that maybe the last one, I mean, I feel like this is really doable, honestly. I don't think,
Mhm.
we're talking about getting up and doing your sun viewing while you take a 10-minute walk.
Mhm.
We're talking about then while you brew your morning drink, doing a few cat cows or stretches or whatever you feel is right for you.
Mhm. Right.
One walk and talk during the day, just one. And it can
Yeah.
be a talk to a friend, which is great for
Yes.
your heart and
Yeah,
connection.
for
And then the
sure.
last one I would say is, can you at the end of your workday or whatever and this counts whether you're working at home by raising your family or working on a job that you're getting paid for, is
Mhm.
that somehow can you transition into your evening with some movement, a short
Yeah.
walk, because everything that you're doing through the day, kind of, especially if you're home caring for children, but
Yeah.
anything you're doing,
Right.
it just so much emotions pent up all day and there's
Right.
nowhere to release them. And so
Yeah.
can you make a movement transition from one part of the day to another, whatever that is
Mhm.
for you? I
Yeah.
mean, that
I
doesn't have
love
to be the last one, but I'm just trying to think of how this can be doable.
Yeah, no, I love that. And then the last one, I mean, because we can give 5 different points that you can
Okay.
do
Yeah.
this, is that, you know, after your last meal of the day, that can be a great way to connect with other people in your family, a friend, just even going for 15 minutes. And it's also, you're doing something good for your health because you're actually using up all that glucose from the food that you ate. Your muscles are using it. And so it's just good for your health all around. But it's really good. You can clear your mind before you go to sleep, and
Exactly.
settle your mind a little bit. So even that would be a really great time to add a walk. And, if you could do all five, amazing. If you
Right,
can do
right.
just one, that is amazing, right?
I
Just even,
agree. I
yeah,
agree.
start with one, whatever makes sense, in your day. Commit to, this is the time I'm going to get some movement in. Walking is the easiest thing, some stretches, some simple asanas, whatever you can do, some shaking, dancing. You can do that inside the house, like jam to your favorite song for 5 minutes. Those are all things that you can do, and just commit to one of those and try it out for a few weeks and see how you
Yeah,
feel. Right.
yeah.
And then you'll be motivated to add another break, another walking, movement break during the day.